Hey everyone. So today I wanted to share a little bit about the three books which I read during my pregnancy, which helped me immensely. And I think this is something that would definitely help a lot of women as well. So I just wanted to share it with you. This is something that I've shared with my friends and colleagues whenever I could. And I just wanted to make a video on this because this is something that impacted me, and I learned something from each of these books. And there are many moments when I go back to just reflecting on, thank God I read it at the right time. So I hope this helps you as well. The first book, one of my favorites, is Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And this is something that talks about how women should lean into getting promotions, growing in their careers, and everything that it takes. Okay, and as women who are of this century, and we get educated, and in college and among friends circle, we do talk about like how there should always be gender equality at the workplace and in the house. But there are some moments that will definitely test that. And I read this during pregnancy, and it was the right time, I think, for me to read it. Because that's something that you have to go through on your own in some way, when your male partner, your husband, can only be there to like just morally support you, but that entire journey of pregnancy, all the changes are actually yours alone. And in that time, it was difficult, and difficult emotionally, because there are few emotions that come through strongly at that time. One thing can be a little bit of guilt, that oh God, I'm like doing this and I'm working and I'm like just living like a normal life. Is this really good for my baby? Shouldn't I just be like sitting at home more, just listening to soothing music for like 3 4 hours a day, and that's what will really help the child? Like, is that not what I should be doing? So then self doubt can come in. How am I going to be able to manage it all, and work and home, and how is it even possible? And am I good enough to even grow in my career? Should I like take a break at this stage? Let me see what I can get back into later. Obviously, for medical reasons and even by choice, many people do take a break, and that's completely fair, because I think raising a child is one hell of a job, and it requires so much effort and attention, and requires the best out of parents. And anybody who wants to do that full time and stay at home, or who has never had a job and always wanted to be a homemaker, it's amazing that they chose to do that. That's wonderful. But here I'm talking about like the self doubts which I had at that time. And I read this book at that exact moment, because it addresses all the self doubt which Sheryl Sandberg also went through. It addresses all the guilt, and those mixed feelings that she also went through. And it really made me feel like she's an incredibly successful person. And if she couldn't have all those feelings, it somehow made it okay for me that I was feeling those things too. I had never looked at Sheryl Sandberg, Marissa Mayer, those top executive women, Indra Nui, all of them, as people with any self doubt or any guilt. I always looked at them as people who had everything under their control. They knew how to do everything, and that's always like the impression I had. So I think that's where this book hit me, saying that it's okay to have those doubts. It's okay to have those times when you question yourself and you don't have all the answers. And knowing that somebody as successful as her went through that same journey definitely helped me relate to it. There's a point where she talks about you can't have it all. Like, you can't be like, oh, the best at work, the best at this, best at everything, and like have it all. That's a myth. So first break that myth, but try your best at whatever it is that you're doing at that time. There may be a time when you have to connect for a meeting from home, but your toddler is crying. You may have to skip that meeting and tell everyone, I'm sorry, I cannot join today. Don't kill yourself for it or punish yourself for it. If they have to understand, they will. Focus on the fact that the toddler needs you right now and enjoy that moment. There will be a time when the toddler will stop crying, and you will get back on your phone and call people and say, hey, what happened in the meeting? What's the update? This is what I think of it. or whatever, you can like space things out, and you can't be everywhere all the time. So if you have to leave kid behind, for some daycare may be an option, but luckily for me, like the my parents and the in-laws, so both of them were stepping in, so the kid was with them, so I had like a lot less fear leaving the child with them when I returned to work. But knowing that I can't be there all the time to take care of the child initially was a little scary, and it was also something that made me feel bad, like am I a bad mom for doing that, for opting to go back to work when the kid is 6 months old. Because there were people around me who went back to work 3 months, when the baby is 3 months old. There were some who went back to work when the kid was 2 years old. So I didn't know what is like the right thing to do, but I just knew that for me that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back when the kid was 6 months old. So knowing that it's okay, because now it's been a while. Now my son is like 2.5 years old, and it turned out okay. So just knowing that it's okay to do that, to make those choices, and really I think on so many levels I can be a better mother to him, and this is my personal choice, because I'm working. So it gives me that time, like my space to do my own things, to have my own growth, my own failures, my own learnings, my own mistakes, my own right, wrong, learnings, meeting new people, understanding things, not understanding things. It gives me that time to have my own some identity, which I think will help me guide him in anything that he requires in life in some way, or just have that exposure, which to me personally that was important. So that's one thing she talks about. And also how when you lean into meetings, and when you lean into wanting to grow, automatically it's also important that your partner leans into stuff at home, because you can't take all the burden on your own. And I think that automatically has happened in my case also, where when I also lean into my career, and my husband obviously is also working and successfully too, so we have to lean in at different times to home and to outside, and find that balance. So I think it really helps in bringing a lot more respect to each other as well. So that's the first book. I think I spoke about it for too long, sorry. The second book is What to Expect When You're Expecting. This is a detailed guide on everything that you can expect before pregnancy, during each month. It's like a textbook. Actually, it has a lot of content. So if you're really serious about understanding what happens at each stage, that would be good. The way to read this, I think, is not to go over all the content at once, because that can be a bit overwhelming. And I'm not a medical professional, so a lot of things here are new to me. And the last time I studied biology was in like 12th standard. So this will definitely help in understanding what your body is going through at that stage. So they have an app as well, which I used. Where they give weekly updates on your bodily changes and the child's growth, so that can help as well. And they also have like a support forum there. So what to expect when you're expecting, each chapter maybe is about 40-50 pages. So I read it over a weekend, the first weekend of that particular month. Like in my first month of the pregnancy, I read the first chapter. Second month, I read the second chapter. So it was stayed relevant with me as the pregnancy progressed. So this is very useful to know the do's, the don'ts. It also has a section in each chapter for the men, like for the husbands, the fathers to be, on what they should do, and how they have to step up in some way. So this is a very extensive book with a lot of knowledge. One of my friends lent it to me, and I'm really glad that I got my hands on this at the right time. Okay, the third book is by Rujuta Dwivekar. I love her. I literally, like, I think stalk her on whatever way possible on like YouTube, Instagram, and every forum that she is in. She speaks so much sense in this age when she's a nutritionist and a dietitian. thing. And so she speaks so much sense in this time when there's so much talk of like the keto and the intermittent fasting and this and that and all these like fads and fancy terminologies and avocados and quinoa, which I have never eaten in my life. And they're supposed to be amazing, but I live in India, I live in Bangalore, and that's not my staple diet here. So I have no clue what to do with that. Muesli, also, I have no idea what it is, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it rightly. So she has. Written many books. This is one of the things for healthy kids and notes for parents. And she's also had a book on pregnancy. So that book, I don't have it right now, so I couldn't show it. I've literally like read all her books. She talks about Indian food wisdom as well, and how there's a reason why certain foods are consumed in certain seasons, and even after pregnancy, how there are certain foods that are given to the woman, and we must cherish it and enjoy it and appreciate the journey which our body is going through. Like, for example, she mentioned one example in the pregnancy book of how daughters-in-law these days, when they're given, not as like daughters-in-law, like could be daughters also, like women these days are given, after delivery, like those dry fruit laddus filled with ghee. And how many of them, for the fear of becoming fat, they take it and just flush it in the toilet and tell their elders at home that they ate it. And how you should absolutely not do that and respect the changes your body has gone through and give it time to recover and come back to shape if it's such a worry. She talks about how you can do so much with Indian food, seasonal content, locally available food, not like imported from some country and having some name which we might never even know of. So this is something very useful that I found at that time.